Hey Savamon, so you wanted a cool gun mage build. Well, I think I found one for you that you might like, but just don't get caught at the airport with this one. So this gun mage is a high damage lightning burst that uses your gun in your main hand permanently. So that means we don't use a lexicon at all, since that would make it more of a pure mage build, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, this build uses the sigil of wind to maximize your pistol damage. You can work towards the chimera pistol while you use whatever you find in the meanwhile, but for now let's talk about strategy. The main way to damage enemies would be by standing in your sigil and shooting with your pistol, right? But you can also cast Conjure for close range lightning damage. It's quite dangerous though to have enemies come close to you while you're casting it, but it's well worth the damage output. If you take any hits close range, you can just use Blood Bullet to regain some of your health in combat. It's actually a really good spell, and I also like to keep a trap up before my sigil so I lure enemies in. And also I swapped Des, the blue ruin, on my bar with Mana Push, so I can cast another ranged spell while I'm in my sigil. You can simply open your spellbook and pre-cast the spells that use the blue ruin, which are Runic Protection and Runic Lantern. Another trick I learned was I'm able to reload the gun with a bullet before combat. Then you can just pop a blood bullet for a free second shot before actually needing to reload. But if your enemy survives those two shots, it still has to walk through your trap and take a spell from Mana Push. So if it actually makes it to you, then Conjure should definitely be able to finish the job. Thing is, I've noticed in the open world and in the dungeons that most smaller trash mobs, you should be able to take care of them with relative ease. In fact, I didn't even need to use the sigil for the weaker enemies. It's absolute overkill. But I guess it's okay because the cooldown isn't that bad. Plus, the sigil of wind doesn't need any stones to cast, which is actually a breath of fresh air. But just be careful when facing multiple enemies at once, because I've noticed you get stun locked relatively quickly while standing inside your sigil while trying to cast things like a conjure. So it pays to recognize the timing you need to get one of those off. One thing I want to note is that this build is not meta, and that's okay because not everything in life needs to be min-maxed. In fact, I actually enjoy this build a lot more because it has its strengths and flaws. All of your gear is helping you maximize lightning damage, making certain enemies resistant to your attacks. But you can also simply summon a runic blade and use traps and Mana Push inside of your sigil for ethereal damage, which covers your weakness. Okay, let's get the sword out of the way since it's your backup toy. It's the Radiant Wolf Sword. I'm sure you've seen it before. It's a pure lightning damage weapon, so it's a no-brainer that you should get this weapon for your main hand. But to get this weapon, you do the quest called Truth and Purpose during the debate with the rebel priests. Okay, you just get all of their questions wrong on purpose and then you fight them. That's going to unlock the sword. Okay, the quest line is on the wiki. Okay, so now for your main weapon for this build. It's the Chimera Pistol. It's really great because it inflicts elemental vulnerability while doing insane lightning damage while you're standing inside of your sigil. And it's pretty easy to get as well. You just completed the quest called Blood Under the Sun, and then you can buy it from Tomorrow the Smuggler in Levant. And again, the quest is on the wiki if you want a step-by-step guide on how to do it. Okay, the headpiece. It's the White Priest Mattia, and while it does look goofy as hell, it's worth it for the bonus lightning damage. This one is super easy to get. You can buy it from the shopkeeper Lida in Monsoon. The Runic Armor chest piece, which actually reminds me of that starting Ronin armor in Elden Ring. It also buffs your lightning damage though, so this one's a no-brainer, and you can buy it from the Berg blacksmith. I think his name is Kukiza. Okay, so the gold leech boots can only be looted from the light mender. Now these boots don't boost your damage, but they actually reduce mana cost and reduce damage taken. But the problem is that this boss is actually immune to lightning damage, so just keep that in mind and prepare accordingly. He is in the Spire of Light in Monsoon, and while you're outside the Spire of Light, okay, you can get the Lightmender's backpack, which gives a nice 10 flat bonus to lightning damage. So you get the backpack from the quest line called Strange Apparitions, which starts outside of the Spire of Light on the bridge. Again, just consult the wiki for a step-by-step instructions for how to complete this quest. That's basically your kit. So with that done, I went with the Holy Mission. It's basically how you're going to get the sword, plus a few other cool rewards like Infuse Light and Exalted, if you're feeling like trading your health for some insane damage. So your 3 trainers will be the Hermit for Shamanic Resonance, Sigil of Wind, and Conjure. Just remember to grab the wind altars in each region so you're actually able to use the sigil. The second is the Ruin Sage, since it's hard to be a gun mage if you're not the mage part. Well of Mana is nice to keep you spamming spells, and here's the important part. You take Internalized Lexicon, which removes the need to wield a book in your offhand, which is what you want, right? Again, you can't be a gun mage if you're not holding a gun. And yes, the other choices could be stronger overall, but that just removes the point of playing a gun mage. Anyway, the final trainer is the Mercenary in Levant. The main reason for going with them is Blood Bullet, which is a top tier skill for any gunslinger. Marathoner and Swiftfoot allow you to keep your distance on enemies, giving you tons of breathing room, allowing you to kite while you either wait for cooldowns or opportunities to counterattack. For buffs, you just want Blessed and Possessed. And for food, I like to take the Cheesecake for that sweet level 4 mana restoration. You can also get that cake at the Harmattan Baker. Oh, another thing that you can get is the Marshmallow Tartine. With this build, you'll basically be able to sprint forever without getting tired, which is actually super awesome for those long distance travels. And then, if you couple that with some movement speed armor, you'll get around the map in no time. And if you have any builds you want me to make a video on, just let me know in the comments like Savamon did. And if you think the Gun Mage is a cool build, boop the like button so I know how many of you agree.